Welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio. I'm your host, Deborah Bailey. And when I started this show in 2008, I was on a mission to promote women-owned businesses and help women succeed by providing resources and valuable tips from other women and men, small business owners. In each interview, my guests speak openly about their triumphs, the scary times, and tough decisions they had to make along the way. Women Entrepreneurs Radio is about showing women how to harness their natural strengths to achieve success on their own terms. Hi everyone, welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey, and I'm so glad you could join us today. And you can find this show on iTunes, and also you can find it on dbcoach.podomatic.com. And if you listen on iTunes and you like the show, please take a moment to leave a review, because reviews help the show to be found by more listeners. So if you could take a little time to do that, that would really be great and helpful. And also you can visit womenentrepreneursecrets.com for more information about the show guests. Usually they're posted there the day of the show, their bios and links and everything. And there's also posts of interest to women entrepreneurs as well. So you'll also find a list of platforms that this show is on. And it's been distributed to quite a few, so there may be some other places that you like to listen. And you can find an archive of past shows there as well. They've been uploaded to Libsyn, and they're being distributed as well. So you can find all those links there. And if you're interested in being a guest, you can get the guidelines from there that you can find out what we like to hear from you in order to be on the show. And also, I am a writer and a coach, and you can find out more information about me on my website, dbaileycoach.com, and I have links there to my books and also to my coaching programs for people going through transitions in life and business, and also some book coaching for those people who are looking to write a book or have questions about publishing traditionally and self-publishing. So those are things you can find out there as well. So I hope you'll stop by. And now I'm going to introduce my guest. Nadia Finer is one of the UK's most respected business coaches, and she's the author of Little Me, Big Business: How to Grow Your Small Business, Increase Your Profits, and Go Global in Your Pajamas. And that was published in September of this year, 2018. And she understands the realities of running a one-woman business from experience. And she knows what it takes for motivated, self-started small business people to make a very comfortable living, whether it be from the comfort of home or a workstation somewhere else. And rather than courting investors and raising startup capital, she urges independent business people to focus first and foremost on themselves. So once a small business person gets clear on what she does best and what makes her stand out from the crowd, she can then move on to building relationships and gaining clients and achieving the ultimate goals of any business: big profit and big impact. And Nadia has been featured in media, from The Guardian to Marie Claire to BBC TV. So welcome to the show, Nadia.
Hey there. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really glad to be able to talk to you, because this is, really good stuff that you're saying, and things that people really want to know right now, how they can really take their small business and make it into something that works for them. So I was really, really excited to talk to you about this. Before we dive into that, could you please share a little bit about your own journey? You know, what brought you to where you are now, coaching other business owners?
Yeah, sure, of course. So my background is really in marketing and innovation. I worked for a number of large companies and then went on to work for a consultancy where I helped big companies have ideas. And from there, I took a kind of unusual path because I left to write a book. I was published by Hay House in 2011. I wrote a book called There's More to Life Than Shoes, and it was all about women who wanted to achieve something amazing and how they would go about it, what would it take to be successful. So I did that, and then from there I set up a women's network with face-to-face meetups all around the UK, and that led me to set up a PR service, a business that I ran for a year or so, and then I had a kind of a bit of drama with a business partner. That's in the book. That's a whole big saga you can read about. But from there, I really kind of decided to focus on strategy, because that was the thing I love doing best, helping people to grow their businesses and make more money, because I believe that it is possible to run a little big business. So something where you're just you're on your own from home, keeping it really simple and streamlined, and just working in a really smart way so that you can make more money without the stress, like we said, of investors and premises and employees and all of that jazz, all that stuff that is quite stressful. Because I believe by creating a personal brand and working really in a clever way, you can scale, but without the drama and the stress. So yeah, that's what I do now. And like you said, I also published a book recently called Little Me Big Business, where I share that stuff. So how you can, essentially, that's what I mean when I say go global in your pajamas. But I love the idea that us women are able to create global businesses on our own, and no more are we kind of limited. The idea of like a kitchen table business. Well, in the UK, it was for ages, I felt like women were limited. They'd say, "Oh, well, you're running a little business. Like, well done, by yourself from home. Oh, well done, you. That's really good." And you're thinking, hang on. I've got clients all over the world, actually. I run a global business, and I work from home, but it's not tiny. So I want to help other people to do that too, to realise that they can have a big impact on the world. Just because they've got kids or they work part-time doesn't mean you have to settle for tiny.
Right. That's true. That's a great point. That you've made, because I think that's what happens to a lot of small businesses, particularly the ones run by women, that it's looked at as, oh, that's that little thing that you have going, and not really looking at the fact that these days in particular that people are connected around the world. So you have a global business. It's not something that people should diminish because you're at home.
So. Exactly. And yeah, I think often we play small, and I know what that's like. So, well, you can tell by listening to me on this that I sound really young, like I sound like a kid, and I think it's always been a thing that I've struggled with personally over the years, with the insecurities, the doubts that brought about, it affected my confidence. People say stuff, they judge you, and it kind of held me back, work-wise, but also as an entrepreneur, I felt like I had to be maybe try to be like other people, maybe hide and not be as visible as you're meant to be, or that I knew would help me to grow my business. It's always been something I've struggled with, and I think I know that a lot of people do struggle with how to go big in your business, or how to show up when actually you're a bit scared or you doubt yourself, and really, every kind of muscle in your body is telling you to hide on the sofa because, what if people judge you, or they don't like you, or they don't think you're good enough. So I see that, where as women we tend to keep ourselves small because of the own sort of self-doubt that we have, but also then we make strategic decisions as a result of that, that we keep ourselves small business-wise as well. So I'm on this kind of mission to help women to go big in their businesses, to unleash the bigness, because I know what it's like to play small, and I see it happening all around me, and I think that we're capable of great things if we can kind of get over ourselves, and if we can build that bigness into the business, design it in a way that works smarter, then I love the idea we can have, that these women all over the world are like, yes, okay, have a nice day at work, to their husbands or partners or whatever, and doing the school run and then going home and having a massive impact on thousands of lives, and then like, I'm just going to walk the dog or meet my friends, go to the gym, and then get back to doing more work and impacting thousands more lives before dinner.
I know. I like that idea, and for you, you have your own unique style, and that you really had to embrace, so was that really difficult for you to realize, I have something that I can use as the thing that helps me to stand out?
Yeah, it was. I mean, so what happened was I kind of touched on this before. I was running this PR service. I had a business partner, and eventually, so what I did was I brought her in because I was hiding. I brought her in because I felt like I needed someone louder and more confident than me, and I could hide behind them. And it obviously didn't play out very well because she was a bully, and it didn't go well. And we had this conversation where she had accused me of playing small and holding the business back, which was actually the business I'd founded. So I decided it was time. I know she said some other really mean things as well, and I decided that it was time to take a stand and, finish it with her. And I said, you can expect to hear from my lawyer. And I didn't have a lawyer, but I found one pretty quickly. And I was really upset, because I was very angry about the whole thing. And it took a long time to recover. And while I was kind of trying to get over it, I realised that I couldn't hide behind anybody else anymore, and I couldn't hide behind a brand or try to be like somebody else or be inauthentic, because I was insecure about myself, and that I actually needed to face up to my own insecurities. And I remembered a quote by Joseph Campbell. He said that the cave which you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. And that quote was really powerful for me, because I realised that the thing that I was afraid of, the thing that was holding me back, the thing that I was hiding from was my voice, my little voice. And if I could embrace it and somehow, front and centre, then I had a feeling good things would happen. It was just, I didn't know if I would have the courage to do it, because it's really, it was deeply uncomfortable, because for me, all my life, I'd hidden away from it. I was afraid of making phone calls to people I didn't know. I would never have given a talk or made a video, done anything where I had to speak in public. So deciding to kind of embrace that insecurity and amplify it seemed incredibly frightening, but I decided to try it and see what would happen. So I actually decided that I would create a personal brand called Little Voice Big Business, and that I would acknowledge my voice when I was speaking to people. Like if I was giving a talk, I wasn't going to pretend to be somebody else. I would talk about it. So now I speak about the challenges that I faced, and I'm open about the fear that I have around visibility, the confidence issues. And what's happened is that because I'm honest and vulnerable and open about it, is I attract my kind of people who that message resonates with. So often, the other day, someone who lives on my street had seen a video I made. And I don't really know her. She said, "Oh my goodness, I saw your video." And it really touched me because she said she was about to go and give a talk about a business that she had just started, and she'd seen my talk about me embracing my little voice, and she realized that if I could do it, then she could do it too. So that's kind of what, that it's really important to me, like you said at the beginning, about people sharing this podcast because you want to help other people too. So I feel like if I share my message and I can talk to you guys about the stuff that I've had to face up to, then hopefully you'll be able to face up to things that are, scaring you as well. And so yeah, I'm really glad I've done it because it's changed everything for me in my business, and I help my clients now to do that, to create personal brands around not necessarily their insecurities, because that would be weird if everyone was doing it, but just like embracing the things that make you different, that make you unique. Because I just feel like there's so many people trying to be the same as other people, and it creates such a bland environment. And you can't stand out if you're trying to be the same as everybody else. Whereas if you are you, then you don't have to worry about what everybody else is doing. You just crack on with being yourself.
That's perfect. That really resonates with me because I remember when I came out of corporate originally full time, and I was doing things from home and doing, contracting from time to time as I'm doing now. There was a lot of people at that time, I'm sure probably now too, that were pretty much telling people, well, if you do these steps in this way, then you can have X, Y, Z, you can have this coaching. Usually, that I've seen this some kind of coaching business, and you just do it this way, as I've done it. And everybody was trying to be what these folks were, projecting that they were, and people were, and that means all the stuff that makes you was taken out because you're trying to fit yourself into some other mold. And after a while, you can't tell one person from the other because all the materials sound the same. The websites all look the same. And then you realize what you're saying, that's not a way for you to stand out. It's not a way for you to attract your group that resonates with you, because they don't know who you really are at that point.
They have no idea. I mean, I feel so strongly about this. I think there's so much nonsense going on where people are selling, a magic bullet. You follow this blueprint. You pop this magic pill, and you too will be magically transformed overnight from, living in a dumpster to suddenly being a multi-billionaire. You just follow exactly. I mean, it's completely mad, and it even strikes me that it's almost like a pyramid scheme where they're not actually selling a product. They're just selling the idea of a lifestyle. And so it's almost like the emperor's new clothes. Like, it is so wrong on so many levels. And I think it's wrong because it's almost fraudulent in the fact that it's such a fat lie. Like, I can't even bear it. I just feel like, what the hell is going on? That this nonsense is allowed to continue. But people fall for it because they want an easy way out. And the thing is, growing a business is hard. It takes so much. It takes not just knowing what you're doing, but and being single-minded. It takes you need consistent hard work day after day, the
Mm-hmm.
resilience to overcome things going wrong. Like it is not easy. It takes so much, and I think the idea that people are selling this magical potion
Yeah.
is ridiculous. But also, I just feel that what's happening is that any ounce of innovative
Mm.
thought, any fresh ideas or creativity is just being sucked out of this. And so I always believed that being an entrepreneur was about those things: innovation, creativity, and ideas. And what's happening now is that people are walking around talking about being an entrepreneur when actually they're not having any fresh ideas. They're not spotting opportunities or solving problems or coming up with new ways of doing things. They're just looking at what other people have done and ripping it off or trying to be like them. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not what I do for my clients. I love the fact that it's about ideas and helping people do things differently and in new ways. And I think soon people are going to see that all that's happening is a replication of one sort of queen bee and their methods. And it's just kind of being rolled out again and again and again. And I think it's a shame, because one of the reasons you went into starting a business was to do something different, to change the world, to help people, those things. And it's up to us to come up with fun, new, exciting ways of doing that, and not just copying what other people do.
Totally. That's perfectly.
Rant.
Yeah. That's so true. That's so true. And it's interesting because what I saw then, it's still going on. So, just maybe different players are doing it, but it is still the same kind of message that is being put out there. And you're right. It's not really what a lot of people have gone into business really had a desire to do something and change things and make things easier for people, provide solutions, and then they kind of get caught up in these other things that lead them away from that. But another thing that I wanted to ask about is, again, getting to that, the person who goes out into the business and wants to work, and a lot of times people end up making another job for themselves, So what are your thoughts about scaling businesses in a way that works for you?
Yeah, I mean, one of the mistakes I made, and I see this happening a lot, is that we desire more clients, almost to fill up a schedule or a diary, we call it in England. Yes, a calendar, that's the word. You want to fill your calendar with appointments, don't you? When you're starting a business, and you end up with this kind of being booked back to back. And if you're maybe a woman, presumably, working maybe part-time, like you don't want to work 12-hour days, the number of appointments in your calendar cannot actually exceed a certain number because you haven't got the time. So what people do is they start off by striving to be busy, and they never really get beyond that mindset where eventually they are super busy, they can't fit anything else in, and that really puts a ceiling on how much money you can actually make and the impact that you can have. So I help people firstly to change their mindset around how they're going to run their business, because the time that you give to your clients, particularly one-on-one, that's actually the most valuable thing you can give to someone. That's like a VIP experience, spending time one-on-one with you. And yet, let's say you're a fitness instructor, you're giving that away at such a low rate that you can't possibly make any money. So we try to adjust the thinking around that, and elevate that one-to-one experience to create the true VIP experience that it is. I help people to package up their services so that they're not selling their time anymore. Because I think once you when you're literally just selling people the number of minutes that they spend with you, again, it's really difficult to go beyond a certain number. Like, it's completely capped, and it's very frustrating. So we look at packaging things up, putting in elements that are maybe pre-made, like pre-prepared or evergreen elements within a package, but also selling the result. So often we're attached to, I kind of call it the nuts and bolts of what you're delivering, and you forget that it's about the results that you're delivering for people. So let's keep with the fitness instructor example. If you're going to help me get a six-pack, I don't care how many minutes it takes. I want a six-pack. I don't care how much, like how many worksheets you give me, maybe, or how many sit-ups I have to do. Because all I really want is a six-pack so I can go on the beach and look awesome. So you have to think about the result that you're selling as opposed to what your, the nuts and bolts of the service. And so often people are like, oh yeah, well, you get this many pages and this many videos and this many this and that and the other. And I'm thinking, I don't care about any of that. I just want the result. So I try and help people to create outcome-based packages because that's so important to shift your earning potential and the impact potential away from the stuff, the time and the bits that you're giving people. So those are some of the things that I help people to do. And then also, one of the scariest things that I remember doing when I was growing my business at first was moving from the one-to-one model to a more kind of scalable model where you could help more than one person at the same time. So I still work with clients one-to-one, and I do really love it. But I also have an academy where I help people to scale their businesses, and I have a whole bunch of people in the Profit Pack at once. So I like to help other people create this kind of group model so that they too can impact hundreds and thousands of lives, not just one at a time. And I remember it was so scary when I first decided to do that because I was worried about it. Felt like a huge step. I guess up-leveling is the word. I was afraid. I felt like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do it. It's really, it's frightening. What if it doesn't work? Will people take me seriously? All that kind of stuff. But once you take the first step and you keep creating consistent momentum, keep moving forwards one bit at a time, you can grow continuously and have. It's amazing what you can achieve, and I love helping my clients to do the same because it really changes their lives. They don't have to be limited anymore. It's moving away from this kind of a hobby, an expensive hobby that just keeps you busy, to something which is what I call a little big business. You're having a huge impact in not that many hours a day.
That's really a wonderful model, because I think a lot of times the small business person doesn't really see how they can do something that fits into what they want to create. If you're the person who wants to have your thing and not necessarily have an empire, you're going to have to set things up differently than the person who, wants to have all that gigantic infrastructure going on. And I think a lot of times the business owners who come into this don't get that information that tells them, hey, if you want to do it this way, this is what you need to be setting up, as opposed to following these other people who have a totally different infrastructure, and you're trying to be them, but you can't be, or that's not really what you want. You just think you do.
But I think it's really interesting. Two reasons. So firstly, I believe that model can be applied to all businesses, and it's not just, let's make a course teaching people, how to do what I do. That doesn't need to be the answer. And that's where it comes, innovation and creativity come into it, because I like to help people have ideas about the things that they can do to create that kind of model in their business. It doesn't always have to be this obvious, a course about a course kind of thing. And I love all that. I have this thing within the profit pack. I'm so cheeky, I can't help it. People were asking me, how do you create an academy, which is a bit like the profit pack. So I called it Academy, and it just cracks me up every time, because it's just like, oh, I'm going to make a course about a course about a course about a course. How meta, how many steps and moves are we going to get? It's ridiculous. Anyway, the other thing I want to say is I just remember being so afraid of doing it, and I think I kept seeing, these huge programs, people launching huge programs and massive stressful launches where, I can't do a launch like that. I don't want that stress in my life. I don't want to. I like being able to do the school run. I like going to the gym every day. I like having a pretty chilled out kind of a life, and I'm not up for that. So, but that doesn't mean, if that sort of lifestyle and that whole kind of billionaire thing puts you off, doesn't mean you can't do this. You can. Right. I do the way I launch, I call it a lovey launch, which is just a really kind of chill out method of launching. And you can build this around your lifestyle in a way that is enjoyable and fun. And I think business should be fun. It shouldn't be so off-putting and scary and intense that you hustle till you collapse in a heap, So it's not advisable or cool or clever to do that. So, if you're listening and you feel like, oh my goodness, I can't possibly do that, you definitely can. And if you're thinking, I can't see how that model, that one-to-many model with recurring revenue perhaps, would work for me, well, it absolutely can. It just means that you need to think a bit about how it would work. It's not just a kind of off-the-peg solution that, we're not just copying what other people do. We can think about it and come up with something that works for you. There's all kinds of ways of making this work. And I think, that's the fun challenge of running a business. It's not just everybody copying everybody else.
Right. I agree. That's perfect. Again, it's perfect way to put it, because it doesn't have to be that way. There's other ways that one can do what they do, instead of everybody just, trying to build it out of a kit and follow whoever is the one who's in the spotlight at this moment. So I totally agree. So Nadia, could you please let everybody know where they can find out more about you and your book?
Yeah, sure. So if you want to find out about me, head over to nadiafiner.com. That's Nadia, Nadia, and Finer, FINER.com. And on the website, there's my podcast. You can watch videos and download some cool stuff. And if you're interested in finding out how to scale your business without causing yourself so much stress that you collapse in a heap or have a heart attack, then check out my book, which is called Little Me, Big Business. And you can find it on Amazon.
Great. Yes, and I recommend the book, because it's very easy to read and digest, and it's fun, and you can get a lot out of it, as opposed to sometimes these business books are so dry, you just don't want to read it. You're I
know. I find sometimes I buy a book and I'm like, oh well, if I carry that round, people will think I'm really impressive. But do I want to read it? No, I definitely
No.
So I'm happy to say that one of the things I'm good at is writing funny stories. So my book is funny, and I think that not enough business books are funny, right? We're so used to the kind of super dry,
Yeah. It's a turn off because then people you can't really relate to it, and it's just the people who need that information aren't really going to try to digest that. So you really have to meet people where they are. So I think a great book and a great way to put the information out there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So in terms of content, because writing books is a great way for entrepreneurs to get their thought leadership out there. What are some things that you would suggest in terms of marketing? Your little business out here.
Yeah, I think so. One of the first thing to do is work out what it is about you that makes you unique. So once you have a clear sense of what makes you you, then we need to really amplify that and play to your strengths. So for me, being little voice, big business, I was thinking about this today because it's so easy to forget and go off on one and lose focus. So the things I'm really good at are obviously talking in my voice because people recognize me and it's different, and writing funny stuff. So I need to do more of those two things, right? So I think everyone has something about them that makes them special or unique and some strengths. If you hate video, for example, or you're a terrible writer, let's not do those things. Let's find one thing that you do really well and let's really go for it in that format. So, for example, when I have all different types of clients, some people are really great on video and they love talking. So we need to get them doing more of that. But what happens is they'll do it once and then they're like, okay, I've done that and it was all right. And I'm like, but you need to do that consistently, like once a week at least. Keep doing it. Even expecting to become a global sensation after one video or one podcast interview or one blog post is bonkers, frankly. And I think people give up way too soon. So here are the things. Find what makes you unique and amplify it. Think about the strengths that you have, the thing you're good at doing, and just do that, playing to your strengths, and then do it regularly and consistently and keep goddamn doing it. Don't just do a half-hearted effort for 5 minutes and then jack it in. And if you continue to do the thing that you're good at regularly, over time you will build a warm audience. And once you have a warm audience of people who like you and respect you and look forward to hearing from you, you can sell them some stuff. I think the idea that you can just launch something to hundreds of people when no one has a clue who you are is crazy. So unfortunately, I can't sell you a magic pill that's gonna transform you overnight, but I can support you to make it happen gradually over time. And if you follow those steps, it will happen.
That's great. Yeah, and you're right about people doing one thing, because I know I've been guilty of that myself. You do one thing, you're like, oh, that didn't work, and so now you're ready to throw the whole thing away because
don't throw it away. But also, I would rather have a good podcast that does brilliantly than have a kind of not very good podcast, but half a podcast, half a YouTube channel, and a few blog posts. Just pick one thing and do it brilliantly and become known for that thing, and have your people know what to expect from you. They'll know when to tune in. They're used to how often you produce content, and they enjoy consuming what you produce. And then they look forward to buying stuff from you. I mentioned at the beginning what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. And I think that this kind of consistent effort, day by day, step by step, is huge. and yet we don't really talk about it because
Mm-hmm.
we're a bit lazy and we just want things to happen immediately.
Mm-hmm.
The successful people didn't give up. And I know
Right.
that's a really obvious thing to say. Of course they didn't. But they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
The people who give up are not successful. So if you're someone who can continue to keep going consistently, day by day, step by step, and not give up, then you will get there.
That's very true. It's a matter of just being willing to do the everyday work of just pushing it along and doing what you're doing and not expecting it all to just happen because you did something once. I think that's the thing. Sometimes we have that expectation because of how it's presented. There's, the overnight success and all this, but no one really thinks about what the person had to go through under the radar before it became that success that they were aiming for. And then suddenly when everybody notices it, they pretend that the person just showed up and they've been there all the time. So
yeah, exactly. There's no overnight success. They just maybe brush over the fact that they were there for 10 years. I mean, I could tell you, oh yes, I went from this to that in 6 months and just not mention the 10 years before that.
Yeah. Right.
Of course I could, but I mean, that's not honest. And I think it's really important one of the things in my book is I just try and tell the truth. I try and share the warts and all stories, the things when I cocked up and what I learned from it, and not try and make out like, I just woke up being fabulous.
Right?
I don't wake up fabulous. I mean, I don't look fabulous in the morning, to be honest. And I'm not really fabulous to be around in the morning. But, I just think there's enough nonsense. It's all just it's that kind of highlight reel of business, which doesn't serve anybody because it's not true and doesn't make people feel good about themselves. But it also doesn't help because it sets unrealistic expectations for what's possible. And that's why I like to work with people longer term. The members of my profit pack, you sign up for a year. I could sell you those results and say sign up for 6 weeks and I'll get you there. But the chances are it wouldn't work because people need longer to do the work and they need longer because they have other stuff going on in their lives.
Right.
And so I'm respectful of that and I don't want people burning out. So I sell it as a year-long thing and people often stick around for longer afterwards because I think they want to continue to grow. And I just feel that people are kind of being sold a lie often about the kind of results that you can achieve in a set amount of time, and I think it's unrealistic. It's not. It's not on really because you're forgetting that if you don't achieve it in those number of days, you feel like a failure. And I think people, like we said, they forget that it takes time to build an audience. The idea of just becoming instantly famous and instantly making all that money is, I think it's not realistic, but also you don't want to be a flash in the pan where you just appear. I see this happening a lot where people appear out of nowhere for a minute, achieve something and then disappear. For me, this is about long-term, sustainable success. A business that's going to last you for years, where people are going to want to be in your life and be your clients for years, so that you're not just gone in an instant. Because I just feel like that's not what people want, really. You're not here because you want to build a business that lasts for 10 minutes. You're here because you want something that's going to last for years so that you've got a lifestyle change, a life that you can live and enjoy for years to come.
Yes. You're right. You're right. That's usually not what people just want the thing for the moment. They want something longer. But like we're saying, I think sometimes the flash in the pan is what gets that media attention that, people come and go, then they're on to the next, and then people kind of forget that person was there, and then they're on to the next hot thing. But is that really what you wanted? Did you just want to come and go, or did you really want something that you were still going to be there doing your thing and enjoying it? And that's the thing I think people have to think about. So I think those are wonderful points. But Nadia, we could certainly continue this conversation. I know, like I said, you're several hours ahead of me here, and I don't want to have you talking all night long. So do you have any final thoughts about the things we've been talking about?
Yeah, I just really encourage you to push past the things that you're afraid of. Sometimes it's easy to kind of get caught up in the I can't do it, people are going to judge me. What if they think this? What if they think that? Well, I would just urge you to think about the people you're helping. And for every moment that you're not doing it, for every moment you hold yourself back, you're not helping your people. And that's just such a shame. So try and take the emphasis of you and your fears and focus instead on your people and how they need you to show up, and they're waiting for you.
That's great. Really, everything you're saying is really resonating with me, and just making some wonderful points. So I'm just so happy that we could connect, and you could come on and share what you're doing and your philosophy and everything. And I just want to thank you again for joining me on the show.
Well, thank you for having me, and it's been wonderful chatting, and I'll let you get back to your day.
I know, before we got started, I got a phone call, and I was trying to set things up, and then I'm trying to get off the phone.
It was pretty funny.
And then Nadia's like listening to me just trying to not have a conversation. So I get off the phone and talk with her.
It was really funny. You were trying to close them down, but in a polite way. I was like, this is intriguing. How is she ever going to get off the phone to this woman? I didn't know how you were going to do it, but you bided your time, and then you struck, and you were like, anyway, I've got to go. I was like, yes, go on.
Yeah, it was challenging because the other person was filling me in all these details, and I had to try to wait till she caught her breath, So, I mean,
it was really funny. She was like, and then this happened, and then that happened, and then they said this, and they said that, and I was like, and I felt like joining in and going, no way, she never. Oh my god. And then you were like, I've got to go. So I was like, go on.
That's real life, everybody. That's real life. So that's how it goes.
It was classic. Honestly, it was really funny.
Oh my god! Yeah. The conversation, the other end was funny too. Believe me, it's drama.
There was drama.
I need to write about that drama and change the names to protect the
Well, and also drama is a whole other topic for another day.
That's for sure. I would definitely love to have that conversation. But yeah, that's part of the real life that we're talking about. That's always a part of what we're all doing. So that's not the stuff to cover up, but it's the stuff to realize. That's part of the game, part of part of your living, part of your everyday life. So, as Nadia's saying, embrace it and just, build something that is about you and not all be super slick.
and tune in next time to find out what that conversation was actually about.
Oh my God, that might be another podcast. We could have people talking on the phone.
Oh my God, that is genius. We should
you
have
imagine?
that. where we're earwigging on other people's conversations.
I know.
And we could call it No Way.
See? Now we've already come up with an idea right here. So
okay, let's ditch this podcast and just do that one instead.
Well, I'll make that one part 2. I'll say, okay, now.
We're going then. Oh my God, I can't wait to hear that. That's actually genius.
You see? Someone listening is going to do that. I'm guaranteed we're going to hear something about that.
Well, when you do, invite us to come and have a conversation.
I know, right? Whoever decides they're going to run with us, just remember when you heard it, okay?
Yeah,
when you heard it first.
You don't have to pay us royalties.
We'll let you slide with that this time.
Yeah, exactly. They can have it. It's a bonus.
Oh my God, this is good.
My goodness.
This is
okay,
good.
well,
right.
Listen, I need to go and have my dinner.
Oh my goodness.
You need to go and get on with your day. And I appreciate everyone listening, and I'm just intrigued to hear what everyone comes up with. And
yes.
I'd love them to kind of message me and let me know what you think of the book, and also what kind of things you've done to scale your business or to create podcasts called No Way. And let us know.
Please do, everybody. I'm sure that you will come up with some great ideas. So this has been a really fun conversation. I hope you've enjoyed it too, everyone. So once again, this is Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey. So glad you could join us today, and we'll see you again next time. Bye. Thanks for joining us. You can also join in the conversation on Facebook.com/Women Entrepreneurs and on the website, WomenEntrepreneurSecrets.com. And don't forget to listen in on dvcoach.podomatic.com and on iTunes.